culture more. So they started a podcast to talk all about it, and 30 and Nerdy was born. Oh, 30 and Nerdy was born. You might hear them chat about shows like The Witcher or movies like Lord of the Rings. And if Josh has to choose, he is loyal to Marvel, while Tyler goes more for DC. Yes, Tyler goes more for DC. Now come, one and all, nerd up or shut up, just answer the call to be part of our journey into magical worlds. Join us and cheers to ya nerds. Join us and cheers to ya nerds.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right. So, I had the honor of moderating Mr. Benson's panel in Knoxville, and it was a great experience. So I'm so happy and fortunate that he's back to do it again. So, how you been?
I've been doing extremely well, making a lot of music.
Right, that's what I was just asking you about in the hallway. You and your lovely wife do a lot of music together.
Yes.
What have you been working on most recently?
We just finished a new song that Carla sings. And Carla, where are you?
She's right there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm blind, sorry. And it's a really adorable song, and it's called The Big Bang Boom, and it's how we think of each other and how we met, and how wild it is that, like, in this crazy universe, these two people come across each other and fall in love. And that's kind of our story. We've been together for 44 years. Yeah.
What's the secret?
Truthfully, first of all, Carla's my best friend. She's funny. She understands my sense of humor, because to me, everything's funny. And I think it has to do with respect. You know, we totally respect one another, and we support each other in everything we do. And, you know, every single day in its own way feels new. It doesn't feel like, you know, like it's been 44 years. As a matter of fact, it feels like it could have been last week that we met. And that's kind of cool. It's very cool, yeah.
All right. I don't want to waste any time. Questions from out here, from our friends. All right, don't everybody jump at once. Now it's... All right.
I was just wondering, is there any acting projects coming up that we should know about that you're doing?
I don't know if anybody here watches Apple TV and the show Severance, but I'm in Severance. In season 2, I'm in Severance. I play a really, really awful, creepy doctor. And his name is Dr. Maurer, and it's really fun. So I think Dr. Maurer, you know, has a life. And, you know, there'll be work in season 3, it looks like. Yeah.
All right, who else? Oh.
Hey, Robby, I've been following your career since we were teenagers. And I know that you act, you sing, you direct, you produced the one-on-one. You wrote that with your father, I believe?
Right.
Yeah?
Yes.
Voice acting. My niece is here, Beauty and the Beast. So out of all of these things that you do, which one would you say you get personally the most pleasure out of doing?
You know, I think That's a really good question. I love working, and I love being a part of a family, because that's what happens when you work. Even when you direct, the people, your crew, they're your family, and you take care of them. And I love that. But I think I have two things that I love the most, and I think one is theater, and I think that's because I began when I was 8 years old doing theater, and was on Broadway when I was 12. And I met Carla on Broadway in The Pirates of Penzance. And yeah, she played Mabel, I played Frederick. We got married every night, 8 shows a week. And so the theater is something I adore. And the reason I love it is because every night you have a new audience. And people think, how can you do 8 shows a week and don't you get tired? No, every night is a new audience, and you feel, your audience, and you feel them out, and they react differently to different things, and it's really a wonderful experience, and I love that. And the other thing that I've been doing since I was very, very young is writing music, and there was a point in my life when I was about 15, 16, 17, I had deals, record deals. And it looked like that might have been my life, except that Clive Davis, if any of you guys, know who he is, he wanted me to sing the songs that he picked out. And I had been writing music since I was a real little kid. And so for me, I didn't want to sing. I think one of the songs was You're Every Woman in the World to Me. I don't know if you remember that song. And at that point in my life, I was 16 years old. I didn't want to sing You're Every Woman in the World to Me. I was singing songs like I Hear a Song, or Family Album, or Sweet Texas Onions. And, these are songs that meant something to me, and my dad and he wrote lyrics, and I wrote music, and I used to perform on The Tonight Show and stuff like that. And so, the way the world works in our business, the way the business works is you think you're going one way, and the next thing you know, you get a phone call. And, they wanted me to be in a film. And so then suddenly I'm in a film. And I thought I was a theater actor, and now I'm a film actor. And the business perceives you that way. Whatever you've just done, that's what the business thinks you are. And so that's kind of how my career has always gone. I've always written, because my father was a writer, and I kind of wanted to follow in his footsteps. But also I wrote because, I don't believe in not doing things. And I was just a teenager. And so, like, when I started writing films, I sold one-on-one when I was 18 years old. And, but I started directing sitcoms because my career, I had to reinvent myself. I've had 4 open heart surgeries. And so when I had my first open heart surgery, I was just 26 years old. And I was still thought of as a very vibrant, athletic actor. And it was like suddenly everyone found out that I had open heart surgery, and they didn't want to hire me. And so I went, okay, so I'll start doing other things. And I was lucky, and so I kind of reinvented myself and learned how to be a director.
Yeah, well, those Ellen episodes are some of the best of those seasons.
Thanks. I wish that they would rerun those shows, because that year I did every episode of, which season? The third season? Yeah, I wish they would rerun those, because they were funny. You know, they were really good. They weren't political, they weren't this, they weren't that. They were just funny. And we had a blast making people laugh, you know.
Question? Okay.
Hi, Robby. Thank you so much for being here. I know you don't do a lot of conventions. It's been 7 years since the last time I got to meet you.
Thanks.
All right, I've probably already answered this question at other conventions, but Beauty and the Beast was sort of as the Disney Renaissance was starting, and owning a home video was a new thing. Streaming hadn't been invented yet. Were you at all aware of what you were becoming a part of and what it would do for you and its longevity because of the streaming and the new media?
That's a wonderful question. You know, I knew when we were working on this piece, I knew how special it was. You know, I never dreamt that it would still be alive and a part of everyone's lives right now, you know. But if you think about it, if it appeals to children, you know, when those children grow up and have children, you know, they want them to see something that was special for them. I mean, it's kind of like, it's not really like this, but it reminds me of The Wizard of Oz. For me, The Wizard of Oz is one of the greatest movies ever made. And I watch that every time it's on TV and every time I can. And so, you know, that the idea that Beauty and the Beast appeals to people like that is incredibly humbling. And I think if you would ask any of us who worked on that, we wouldn't have believed that, you know, here, like, I don't know, what is this, almost 30 years later or something, that, you know, that we'd still be talking about it. But it's a wonderful gift for all of us. And just so you know, it's not a wonderful gift financially. That is a completely different story. That's actually very heartbreaking. But honestly, it doesn't matter. Because it's such a wonderful gift in the sense that, you know, I can even see my children watch that and remember my children seeing it and being a part of their lives. And I know that it's going to be a part of my grandchildren's lives. And I have 3 grandchildren now. And my son just had a baby, and his wife and his little baby, our grandchild, they live with us. And so we get to experience this child every single day. And he's such a good boy. I mean, you know, I want to say there's no such thing as hard, difficult babies, but there are. I mean, some babies are tough, you know, they have colic or whatever. But this little boy is remarkable. He's just remarkable. And it's so cool to be in his life every single day. And to know that in like 4 or 5 years, he might be watching Beauty and the Beast. You know, and I don't even know, you know, with my open heart surgery, I don't have any clue if I'll be there in 4 or 5 years, but he will be watching. And that's an amazing gift. So I hope that kind of answered your question, but.
You brought up The Wizard of Oz, and I've done a lot of theater myself, and I ran a high school theater program, and I've been fortunate enough to play the Tin Man and the Cowardly Lion.
Great.
So which of Dorothy's friends would you want to play on stage?
Oh, I would definitely be the Cowardly Lion. I mean, to me, that's one of the funniest and greatest roles ever, and Burt Lahr was remarkable. And I think there are people here who remember Burt Lahr, you know, and the other work that he's done, and even his Lay's potato chip commercials, you know, you can only eat just one, you know, and then he was phenomenal. That's probably what I would go for.
It's the most fun for sure, I can tell you that.
Cool.
All right, who else has got one? Right here.
So what has been your favorite thing that you've done since you've done so many things?
I'd have to say, night after night working with Carla, in Pirates, and now, we work together in music. And what's interesting with Carla is, I'll write something and I'll always have her come in and hear every iteration of it, every mix, every time I mess with anything. And she doesn't have to say anything. You can tell with Carla if she likes or dislikes something immediately. And usually I bring her into the room and I ask her to listen because I'm hoping that she will dislike something, because it's a very, it's just like the greatest litmus test for your work. And I'll immediately ask, what is it that, you don't like? And she'll try to be very sweet about it, but it's honest. And we've learned how, I love that now. It used to drive me insane because I would think, well, what is it that I'm doing wrong here? And I've been engineering music since I was a teenager. And I'm still, anyone who knows music and understands engineering, its sound is so difficult. In order to get the mix right, I didn't go to school for it. I still consider myself a novice, and so she helps me a lot getting sounds right. Before we get the songs up on YouTube.
Right here.
Hi, wonderful to see you, and you
Thanks.
too. Just one comment, that weird movie you were in, All the Kind Strangers.
Yes.
I just love that movie.
Oh,
I mean,
thanks.
I don't, no one talks about it, but it was really, and you were great in it.
Thank you.
The question was, I recently rewatched Lucky Lady, believe it or
Yes.
not. I have the soundtrack, and you seem so young, but how young were you in that movie? Like 20-something?
Like 17,
Oh, you were
18.
really, you were that young.
Yes, I was still in high school, so
my
I might have been
God.
17. I was still in high school, and so that movie, I was in Mexico for 6 months
Oh, wow.
making that movie, so I had to do all of my high school work by myself in Mexico, and I didn't have, anyone there with me. So that was a wild.
I'm just trying to imagine were you hanging out with Liza Minnelli and Burt Reynolds or no?
So Burt Reynolds became like an uncle to me on that film because I was really mistreated.
Oh,
Yeah. So there was Liza Minnelli, Gene Hackman, Burt Reynolds. And then there was me. And I was just a kid. And so at the end of the day of being out on the ocean and I got seasick every day. And we'd be out on the ocean. The 3 stars and the director got to take a speedboat back to base and get in a limousine and go to their hotels or their houses that they were renting. Whereas the director was, I never said a word. I always shut up. I don't complain. I don't do it, And the director would make me stay on the boat because I was in the movie, I am the captain of the Lucky Lady. And that boat took 2.5 hours to get in, which only gave me about 6 hours before I had to be back on the boat. Day after day after day, and I would be so ill. And finally Burt Reynolds said, I want the kid on the speedboat. So they put me on the speedboat. And I would get back to the hotel that they put me in. Okay, this is a very funny story. The hotel had a swimming pool. And the swimming pool was not filtered. It was just standing water, okay? And what they started to do is they started to tell the crew, because this was not a hotel where the stars stayed at. This is where the crew and I was put up, because I was just a kid. And they told us that we'd come in after working for like almost 14 hours. We would come in and they would tell us that there was no hot water to take a shower. And this happened day after day after day. And I did a little homework and found out they were turning off the hot water in order to save money and take advantage of making money off of the hotel being packed with the crew. So I ended up taking my shampoo and my soap, and I went into the pool, and I took a bath. Well, that got me kicked out of the hotel, and there's no place to go. So Burt Reynolds made sure that they put me in a nice place. Well, the only place they had in the middle of the desert was this little one-room house. There's no telephone, no car. It was about 5 miles to civilization, for real. And it was about 2 miles to Burt Reynolds' house. So I knew that Burt Reynolds' house had a basketball court. So instead of just hanging out in the middle of the desert by myself, listening to the Armed Forces radio station, because Burt gave me a radio, and that was the only thing that I had that told me that the world was still happening. I would walk over to Burt Reynolds' house and I would start shooting baskets. And eventually he said, well, I'm having parties and do you want to stay here with me? And I was very, very shy. So I went, no, I'm fine. And that was my answer to almost everything. No, I'm fine. And, but he did go out of his way to always try to help and to be there for me. And we became really good friends, and he found out that I could do sit-ups. This was actually on The Tonight Show. We ended up doing this bit on The Tonight Show. But I could do 5,000 sit-ups without stopping. And so he found out that I could do that because I was always shooting baskets and working out on the basketball court. And and so he told the stuntmen that I could do maybe 500 sit-ups. And the stuntmen went, oh, no way. That little skinny kid, no way. And he said, well, let's start betting on this. So he started this whole betting procedure one day and got it up to 1,000 sit-ups. And so then the stuntmen are going, oh, here's $200. We're betting on, there's no way this kid can do 1,000 sit-ups. By the time he finished the betting pool, it was 5,000 sit-ups. I did 5,000 sit-ups, and Burt made a fortune. Again, I didn't get anything. But I was very proud that I did 5,000 sit-ups. He ended up doing that on The Tonight Show. He was the guest host one night, and he had me start. This was awful. I used to sing songs on The Tonight Show, and I would play guitar. And so I was sitting next to him, he was interviewing me, and then he had me start doing sit-ups. And he thought it would be funny if they went to commercial, and the audience was counting how many sit-ups I was doing, and when they came back from commercial, I was still doing sit-ups, which I was, because he told me to do it. And then after that, he said, okay, let's hear your song. And my stomach is like spasming, and I'm sitting over the guitar, and I'm trying to sing a song over the guitar. But it was very funny. So, you know, that was great.
Thank you for that. And one quick question. Have you ever performed Paradise by the Dashboard Light?
No, I don't do any Meatloaf stuff. But there are times when I'm walking around the house where I'll hear Carla start going, stop right there. You know, and I do like the song 2 out of 3, you know, a lot. And so, and I love the way Carla sings Heaven Can Wait. If you haven't heard it, go to her first album is This a Cool World or What? And God, I could start crying. I mean, she sings that song in Meatloaf. I mean, he sang it. It's fine, you know, but you should hear how Carla sings Heaven Can Wait.
Maybe a little.
Yeah.
So now that we have video games and the theme parks and all the many hundreds of things that Disney does, how often do you get to revisit the Beast?
I think last year I did, you know, they have things like Disney on Ice, where the Beast skates and stuff, and they have the Beast at the park. They have a show where the Beast voice. So like every 3 to 5 years, I redo the lines for those kinds of things. But aside from that, you know, it's funny. I think I've only seen the movie 2 or 3 times. And that's basically because I don't like to watch things that I've done.
Yeah, I understand.
So if something comes on, I'll walk out of the room or turn the channel really fast. But I do love the Beast. I love that character. So, you know, every time they want me to do something, I still do it.
You said you're redoing lines you've already done. I wonder why they need you to redo it when then they've got it forever.
Because of our unions, thank goodness. Because if we don't redo it and they re-up the performance, then you just sign for another 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
But thank goodness for SAG and,
Yeah.
or else Disney would have me doing it forever for nothing.
All right.
And you know what? The sad thing is I would do it because I'm an actor. You know, that's.
All right, here.
Did you ever see the live action one? What did you think about the Beast portrayal in that one?
I thought that's a very difficult transition. You know, when we made the film, when we made the first film, Carla and I always went, this is a Broadway show. You know, we even said that to Jeffrey Katzenberg, and lo and behold, it became a Broadway show, you know, because it really is. So doing it as a live action that was the next step. It wasn't for me, you know, it wasn't anything that I cared for, but I do admire, you know, the fact that everyone really did their best and tried to, you know, make it a really fine film. But, you know, for me, you know, all I have to do is think of the opening of the animated feature, and the second it starts, I'm inside that film, you know, and it feels, I hate to use this Disney word, but it feels magical, you know, and I didn't feel that at all with the live action, but that's just me, you know.
We've got time for probably 2 more. I've got to hand the mic over to my co-host Tyler here. We have to switch duties. Good to see you again.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, man.
Hi. So Beauty and the Beast has been something in my life since I was very little.
Yes.
And now seeing my best friend has a 2-year-old who is recently obsessed with the Beast. we're taking him on a Disney cruise tomorrow.
Great.
And he's dressing as the Beast.
Oh, that's great.
My question is, how did the Beast character arc, learning to love and be loved, resonate with you personally?
It did resonate with me. As a matter of fact, out of everything I've ever done in my life, I guess I kind of have like that imposter syndrome, you know, where you feel like, I don't know if I'm the best for this and someone else should be doing it or whatever. That wasn't the case with the Beast. With the Beast felt like it was the only character I had ever done that was me. The frustration, the anger, the desire to be loved, and then to love. I really identified. I mean, to such an extent that when we were actually making the film, and I'd be performing in the booth, I would come up with little bits and ideas, and everyone allowed me to do that. And then they would incorporate it. It not just resonated with me, it felt like that was a part of who I was, and in a way, who I am. Even though I've learned to control my temper. Yeah, Carla taught me how to control my temper. In LA, I used to get very angry when I would drive. And one day, Carla just went, "That has to stop now." and it was like, yeah, she's right. This is stupid, you know? So, yeah. Go ahead.
Hi, you were talking about how when you did Beauty and the Beast, you thought it would be a great musical.
Yes.
Did you ever consider playing Beast on Broadway?
I was asked first if I would do that. And then I was told that I'd have to wear, I think it was like an 8-pound head, you know, and I thought.
They said it was a 60-pound costume.
Yeah, 60-pound costume. And I, you know, always thought of like the Elephant Man in the sense of the Beast. I mean, look, when I used to do the lines, I would contort and become the Beast. And I didn't think that the Beast needed to be a cartoon figure on stage. I thought it should be a more clever way of portraying this character. So I thought, you know what, I've done it. It's not for me. But if Carla was asked to play Belle, I would have done it. But you know, it just didn't seem like something that I should be doing. You know, after they told me that.
Your television directing career started to explode at exactly the same time. So it was, do I cross over and continue this, or do I go back there and do something that is on film forever? You know, I'm blabbing.
No, thank you for blabbing. I forget things. I mean, it's unbelievable. And I turn to Carla and I go, "Is that what I did? Did that happen?" And so, you know, I mean, look, I'm lucky enough to be out there. I'm next to Lindsay Wagner. And Carla said, "You directed her." I went, "What? When?" And so then I had to go over and say, "Oh, Miss Wagner, it's so nice to see you." I have literally walked up to people. I won't say who this is, but I have walked up to people that I have been in scenes with, and afterwards, like a year later, say, "It's so nice to meet you." And they look at me like, what is wrong with you? And what happens is, and I'll be really honest, what happens is I am so myopic when I am in a character. When I'm directing, when I'm acting, that's a different world. And then when that's over and you step out of a sound stage, or someone says that's a wrap, and you take off whatever makeup and you get into your jeans, and then you're like a normal, like, this is life. And I completely forget where I've just come from. And that happens to me all the time, unfortunately. Yes.
Last one.
I won't ask you about ice castles, because when I was a kid, I was a skater, and that was everything to me. But anyway, I think that you should do with Carla a masterclass series on how to get marriage right.
Oh.
Because it seems like better than any Disney love story.
Oh,
like
that's
you are just soulmates and so perfect for one another, and it makes you want to cry when you hear the way you talk about each other.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you know, I didn't go to college, but I did teach for 18 years. I taught film production. So maybe Carla and I should go into marriage production. That would be fun.
All right, give
Thanks.
Robby a round of applause and go visit him at his booth.
Thank you.